The following information has been channeled from the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records are an energetic library containing all the information in the universe. They are equivalent to the biblical book of life, like a cosmic memory bank. Everything that has ever occurred and everything known in the universe has a unique imprint in the Akashic Records. My name is Jen Aramith, and I am an Akashic Records consultant. I am the primary channeler for Akashic Transformations, a comprehensive source of information channeled from the records. Please visit akashictransformations.net, where you can listen to hours of channeled material on dozens of different topics and submit questions of your own. Welcome to a magical conversation with Spirit.
Could you just go a little bit so we don't go, we've been so trained to be thinking in terms of scarcity, and though I'm going to assume most people on the line know that that's really not the reality, but yet in our everyday world, and then when we start talking about things like this, I know my heart still goes into a little fear. So can we talk about how this redesign is actually opening up and expanding our resources, and that scarcity is not something that we need to dwell on?
Yes, it's a great question. And it actually has a very simple answer, but the integration of that answer isn't simple, right? Everyone struggles with their own process with fear. But the simple answer is actually the antidote to scarcity and fear is cooperation and connection. And so as you're trying to grapple with this scarcity programming that most people have, most people have learned that resources are finite, including love, and you're only going to get so much, so you might as well fight for what you can get, or, there are all kinds of messages involved in that scarcity model or that scarcity paradigm. The way to counteract it, the way to contradict it and step out of it, is to actively connect and actively share. This is something that's been communicated in most of the world's religions, and sometimes you all do it well, and sometimes you struggle with it, and that's okay. But really the antidote, the kryptonite for scarcity, is sharing. It's generosity. And there's some information coming through to back that idea up a little bit, which is if the way to help yourself step into this idea of generosity is to actually sit down and think back on your life. Think about the times in your personal life and your personal experience when you felt most abundant, when you felt most relaxed and full and surrounded and rich. And then think of the times when you felt the most small and scarce and thin and lacking. And consider how your lives were configured in each of those times. You might even draw a timeline for yourself in your personal life. You're going to see that often that sense of abundance isn't necessarily reflected in your money. There will be times when you have more or less money and times when you feel more or less abundant. And sometimes they might be together and sometimes they might be separate. But if you take the whole of your life, you're going to see that they don't really correlate because actually abundance tends to happen when you're pooling your resources with others, whether they be putting your money together to buy something really fantastic, or whether they be gathering together with friends and cooking a delicious meal together. When you're pooling your resources, that's when you're abundant. It doesn't matter if it's as small as making a meal or as large as buying an island. When you're pooling your resources, you're in a state of abundance. When you're hoarding your resources or dividing them, you are in a state of scarcity. It's just the way it works. It's literally true that when you put two human beings together, you get a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. And this is the truth that is articulated in the parable of the loaves and the fishes in the history of the New Testament. It's sort of like the Bible, and actually other scripture as well, but because we're looking at the United States, the Bible has all of the information you need to step into the new economy. Unfortunately, it also has a whole bunch of information that confuses that or leads you away from it, but there are parts of all of your scriptures that give you the template for living in the new economy. And so that parable is all about the fact of abundance, which occurs in pooling your resources, coming together and sharing. Thanks for listening. You can hear much more and submit questions of your own by visiting us online at akashictransformations.net. Welcome to a magical conversation with Spirit.